America deserves to hear the truth. Our national debt is too high.
36
$36 trillion. That's the debt, 36 trillion.
120% of GDP and rising debt service costs.
The International Monetary Fund has officially raised the red flag.
America has made a lot of bombs, nuclear, hydrogen, even neutron bombs. But this time, they've made a $36 trillion bomb, and it's called the debt bomb.
36 trillion. It's a ticking time bomb. And according to the IMF, it is ticking louder than ever. The International Monetary Fund, it has issued a direct warning.
Without exaggeration, American debt is a ticking time bomb.
$25 trillion of new debt on top of the $36.2 trillion we have now, which is already the most debt of any country in the world.
That will detonate unless we take serious, responsible action.
As Trump would put it, it's made in America, but it's not making America great again. Do you know how much $36 trillion is? It's more than the GDP of China, Japan, India, the UK, and Germany combined. This is why the world is scared. Credit rating agencies are screaming danger.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warning how little time is left for lawmakers to raise the debt limit.
Astronomical amount of tax that the government is getting from we the people.
We are at the beginning of a very classic late big cycle debt crisis.
Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
America's debt is worse than World War II levels. So how did the richest country in the world come to the brink of collapse without a war? 4 brutal truths of the American economy. Gen Z spending problem. America has a Gen Z spending problem, spending like Jordans on EMI. The US does the same, spending trillions even when unnecessary. A healthy economy spends in good times and saves in bad times. But the US runs on perpetual deficits. Defense, Medicare, Social Security, and interest payments take up 70% of the budget. America spends $800 billion/year on defense, more than the next 10 countries combined. Yet it lost in Afghanistan to people in sandals and Toyotas. They say it's for democracy, but they couldn't even spread Wi-Fi in Kabul. With an aging population, stimulus, military aid, and infrastructure spending, America spends far more than it earns. Tax cuts that help the rich. America has a tax problem. Over the years, tax cuts have disproportionately benefited the rich. The poorest 20% received only 3% of the total tax cuts. The richest 20% received 65%, more than everyone else combined. This is due to Reagan's trickle-down economics. The theory was, reduce taxes on the rich, leading to more spending, more jobs, and money trickling down. But in practice, it enriched the rich and widened inequality. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and others got $465 billion richer in 4 years. Meanwhile, billions remain poor. The Gini coefficient shows a steady rise in inequality from 1990 to 2023. Spending rose fast, but tax revenues didn't, causing a massive deficit. 3. Interest crisis. The US spends nearly $1 trillion a year just on interest. That's more than the GDP of 174 countries. When deficits rise, the US issues bonds, which require paying interest. More borrowing, more interest, more debt, repeat. This vicious loop is why economists call it a ticking debt bomb. And now the national debt stands at $36 trillion, over 122.5% of GDP, and could reach 140% by 2032. The debt ceiling has been raised over 70 times since 1960, so it's become a joke.
When you put a big tax on something, the people will produce less of it. So we cut the people's tax rates, and the people produced more than ever before. The economy bloomed like a plant.
And thus was born a new economic philosophy, Reaganomics. Cutting government spending, cutting regulation, and cutting taxes. Cutting taxes, especially for the richest Americans.
The tax cut bill.
This tax cut really was targeted at the richest of the rich people in the United States.
This whole thing feels a bit like a scam.
We, unfortunately, in the United States are at the very high end in terms of income inequality.
$465 billion, that's how much richer Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and the world's richest men got in the last 4 years, according to a new report from the UK-based charity organization Oxfam. That amounts to $14 million per hour. Oxfam says, on the other hand, nearly 5 billion people are poor.
To understand this, we must explore the dangerous spiral and India's risk. 4. The debt spiral. Economists and billionaires like Ray Dalio warn of an economic heart attack. Whenever the US needs money, it issues treasury bonds. Other countries, China, Japan, UAE, buy them because they're safe. But China's holdings fell from $1, 3T to $759 billion, and Japan's from $1, 84T to $1, 06T. The demand is falling, so to attract buyers, the US must offer higher interest rates, which increases debt costs even more. This starts the debt spiral. Less demand, higher rates, more borrowing, more debt, even higher rates. And the one big beautiful bill by Trump makes it worse. Permanent tax cuts, more military spending, less healthcare funding, adding $3.30 to $5.2 trillion more to the debt. This pushes debt to 129% of GDP and interest payments up to $1.80 trillion year. Credit agencies downgrade US bonds, panic sets in, and interest rates rise again. Impact on India. If the US enters a recession, India will suffer too. Stock market crash. Foreign investors will pull out and invest in US bonds instead. This happened in 2011, when Indian markets crashed 10%. Rupee chaos. As dollar swings, rupee weakens, inflation spikes. India holds $237 billion in US bonds. If bonds lose value, RBI's power weakens. Even if Indian companies are strong, global panic crashes everything. Not because of India's weakness, but because of dollar strength and capital flight. What can you do? Diversify investments. Keep a portion in bonds, debt funds. Consider safe platforms like Wynall, SEBI registered. India is tied to the US. If the US collapses, the world collapses. Final thought. America must learn to manage its money. If not today, then tomorrow or 10 years from now, this debt bomb will explode. And when it does, it will drag the whole world into another Great Depression. So let's hope this doesn't happen in our lifetime, especially not in 2025.